Okay, we would like to call the special call meeting for the city of Statesboro for March 22nd, 2020. The time is now 2:03 p.m. We ask the city to forgive us in that delay as we was working to get some doctors routed into this meeting. This meeting is in regards to an update in regards to the city actions in response to the COVID-19 situation for our community. The purpose of this meeting is to kind of give everyone an update on the things that's happened and some information that's been shared with us over the past few days. At this particular time, we do want to acknowledge the fact that we've had correspondence from a group of physicians here in the city of Statesboro. And we want to make sure that everyone knows that the decisions that we are making are based on fact and not opinion. The main purpose of every action that's being taken is to ensure the life of every individual within our community. We want to make sure that everyone understands that COVID-19 is a very serious matter. It is a very deadly matter, and it is a very contagious situation. If there was another way to work around the issues that we are facing within our community, we would do so. But at this point right now, we're taking every precaution necessary to save lives within our community. At this point, we do have two physicians online, and we want them to give us a little bit of insight on their perspective of COVID-19 and its effects within our community. Dr. McCracken and Dr. Benson, are you there?
Yes, apparently that's Dr. McCracken. just spoke with some of the physicians at the hospital. I think there is a consensus that we do believe that there is COVID-19, there is the SARS-CoV-2 virus in our community, and it's just a matter of finding that and getting the testing. The testing, unfortunately, is sometimes difficult to obtain, and there have been delays.
Okay. And what I want to do at this point in time is to share the communication that was sent to me by the physicians. Dr. McCracken, are you guys comfortable with that?
Yes.
Okay. With that being said, it is lengthy communication, but I will read it for the sake of transparency throughout the entire community. Dear local and state.
Before you read it, could you just tell us who Dr. McCracken is? So you didn't introduce who he was.
Oh, I'm sorry. Dr. McCracken, will you introduce yourself and state your role?
Yes. My name is Mark McCracken. I'm a medical doctor and physician, and I'm the medical director of the hospitalist group at East Georgia Regional Medical Center.
Thank you, Dr. McCracken. The letter reads as follows. Dear local and state officials, we are physicians who serve Statesboro and the surrounding communities. Collectively, we are acting in response to the COVID-19 pandemic as it enters our community. This letter and our signatures represent our individual professional opinions regarding swift and bold action that must occur to curb the potentially devastating impact on our hospitals, our patients, the city of Statesboro, and the state of Georgia. It is inevitable that the virus enters our community as neighboring cities and counties are beginning to report positive results of the COVID-19 test. It is not a question of if, but when. As are many communities and hospitals across the country, we are woefully unprepared for the number of people who will need treatment when it comes to availability of ICU beds, ventilators, personal protective equipment. Our only action then is to make choices which will slow the spread of the virus so that we have a chance to not completely overwhelm our healthcare infrastructure to the point where rationing, life-saving measures becomes a reality. As such, we implore you to put a shelter-in-place order effective immediately or as soon as feasibly possible. We understand that there would be unintended consequences of these drastic measures, but the alternative is worse. If we cannot slow down the rate of infection immediately, our healthcare system will be overwhelmed. This is what we mean when we say flatten the curve. We applaud your sophisticated understanding of the disease and its spread. As you and your public health advisors likely already know, COVID-19 is contracted through respiratory droplets, sneezes, coughs, just breathing, and on hands and surfaces, and should be considered highly contagious. While the majority of patients, greater than 80%, will recover without the need to be in hospital, up to 10% will be so ill they need to be admitted to the intensive care unit. The death rate is much higher than the seasonal influenza, particularly for people with certain medical problems. The death rate is also significantly higher for patients over age 60 and possibly over 20% of those over the age of 80. The recommended measures of personal hand hygiene, avoiding touching your face, and aggressive social distancing are burdensome, but are the measures to reduce the number of people getting sick. Just as important, these measures will reduce the speed with which the virus spreads. If we can reduce the number of cases, but also double or triple the time over which those cases happen, the healthcare system will be less likely to be overwhelmed by the demand. This is flattening the curve. East Georgia Regional Medical Center has a total of 24 critical care beds. You can imagine how quickly these will fill if our community becomes sick all at once. Slowing the spread or flattening the curve will undoubtedly save lives. The timing and scope of these additional measures are difficult considerations. It is possible that any measures at this time could be deemed either overly aggressive or too late. With that in mind, we advocate for steps that may be deemed overly aggressive, as this is preferred in matters of community safety. We commend you and city leaders for the aggressive actions you have taken to date, such as closing our public schools and also canceling any large official gatherings to lower the likelihood of community spread. The hours and days ahead will be critical to mitigating community spread. While recommendations for hand hygiene and social distancing are spot on, their voluntary implementation in our community are clearly challenging and not optimally effective given the exponential growth of COVID-19 cases in numerous communities across the country, despite widely publicized recommendations for social distancing. We know these are difficult steps, and we are hesitant to have to recommend them. We as a state may face short-term economic setbacks as a result, but the long-term economic consequences of not acting now are greater. The big picture perspective is necessary. We also want to acknowledge that this virus tends to be surprisingly mild and well tolerated in most kids, healthy young adults, and middle-aged adults. This makes it really tempting to say it isn't a big deal. Most people get this virus. Although they may not be severely affected by the virus, young, healthy people must practice social distancing. In South Korea, where significantly more testing has been done, 20 to 29-year-olds represented 30% of those infected. Individuals in this age group can have relatively mild symptoms, but still spread the COVID-19 virus. If infected, older family members, friends, or other vulnerable community members may be hospitalized or die with this virus, particularly if there are shortages of medical care. Hindsight will not look kindly on actions that are taken too late. Moreover, as health professionals, we know that the weeks to come are already at risk of overwhelming our fragile healthcare system. Please help us so we can help our community in this crisis. Thank you for your consideration of our perspective. We will be happy to discuss further if you have questions or concerns. Likewise, we will be happy to provide resources to your guidance. Best regards, Dr. Chelsea Michael, MD, Dr. Scott Michael, MD, Dr. Ian Munger, MD, Dr. Shirley Dega, MD, Dr. Ruthie Kreider, MD, Dr. Hugh James, MD, Dr. Albert Lee, MD, Dr. James Hiller, MD, Dr. A.J. Jane, MD, Dr. Rainey Reddy, MD, Dr. Brian Mugerfeld, MD, Dr. Maria Mugerfeld, MD, Dr. Angela Davis, MD, Dr. Anna Benson, MD, Dr. Al Palmer, MD, Dr. Benjamin Oldham, MD, Dr. Gary Sullivan, MD, Dr. Glenn J. Dasher, MD, Dr. Luke Prater, MD, Dr. Matt Phillips, MD, Dr. Carla Branch, MD, Dr. Mark McCracken, MD, Dr. Randy Smith, MD, Dr. Thomas J. Miller, MD, Dr. Uday K. Tata, MD, Dr. Kevin Purvis, MD, Dr. Wayne R. Bryan, MD, Dr. Kashif Patel, MD, Dr. Justin Roundtree, MD, Dr. Christina S. Roundtree, MD, Dr. Michael Tormina, MD, and Dr. Anthony Chappelle, MD. This is the correspondence that we received from this medical group. With this correspondence being in hand and with representatives of that medical group on hand, I would like to open this discussion in regards to the COVID-19 virus up to the council for discussion.
My understanding from the doctors is that they're strongly encouraging us to be more forceful with the social distancing requirements, rather than just suggesting and encouraging people to stay home, that we need to actually prohibit gatherings of more than 10 and everywhere not deemed essential. So you can't go eat out. You can call and order and go through the drive-in, I think is what's needed next. We need to really enforce the social distancing. So more of us don't get sick. More of us we're gonna get sick. But if we can slow it down, because there's lots of healthy people walking around, healthy looking people walking around who don't know they're carrying it. And they're sharing it with other people. So the more we can stay home, the more we can increase social distancing, the more we can flatten the curve, the more we can spread out the length of time it's going to take for so many to be sick and at the hospital needing care. So that's my understanding, is that we need to do whatever we can, not shut it down completely. We know people have to go get their groceries, but hopefully they're sending a young, healthy relative or a volunteer from VOAD. Not shut down the whole town, not martial law, but close down everything that's not essential. Keep the grocery stores open, keep the drugstores open. But every place else, we know the exceptions that have been suggested, but most folks, we need to prohibit gatherings of more than 10, including funerals, churches, everywhere, to keep us safer.
Thank you, Councilwoman Barr. Any further discussion by council?
For how long?
The duration of the emergency order,
Which is a month at a time.
30-day period.
Well,
I think 30 days is a bit excessive. I think most businesses up to this point have been proactive. Most of the restaurants, are taking a significant hit, and we just systematically closed for 30 days, which is exceeding the CDC's recommendation for 0 to minimal infectious spread. I'm not suggesting I'm not suggesting that we don't practice social distancing and that we shouldn't do this for a brief period of time, maybe 10 days, and then come back and revisit it. But to just shut down the city for 30 days with 0 confirmed
Councilman,
cases.
that's not what we.
You just said 30 days.
No. The recommendation is the 30-day period. We have not made a decision about what we're going to do here. That's why we're having this conversation right now.
Okay, well, my recommendation would be to the end of the month and then revisit and see where we're at with the CDC, see where we're at with the number of cases, and make a decision. But just to make a decision for 30 days, I think is going to be very detrimental. I talked to 3 restaurants who are going to have to lay off nearly 300 people. And these are people that rely on cash that week to pay their bills. These people have already gone a week without cash. What happens when they go 5 weeks and 6 weeks without cash? Because let me tell you, they're still going to have to pay. We may be able to waive their water bills, we may be able to waive their electric bills, but they're still going to have to. And these are our most vulnerable folks. They're waiters and waitresses and housekeepers and folks that are living paycheck to paycheck. I don't suggest that if this gets serious that we continue to look at it, but to just go 30 days right out of the gate is, I think, a little bit much. I would recommend the end of the month, and then we come back together as a board and revisit it.
Yeah, I think.
Could we ask Dr. McCracken?
Yeah.
His recommendation
We
2
will.
days, 2 weeks?
We'll do that. I want to make the statement. Nobody up here is saying 30 days. I want to be clear on that. And I think that what we've got to be especially clear of is that we recognize our economy is a service economy that revolves around Georgia Southern University. Many of the people that work within our community has a job that in some shape or form, fashion, is supported by the students, supported by individuals coming to them looking for services. I think that is key. I think that I don't think it's missed on anyone up here the economic impact that this is having on our community, and not just our community, but communities across the country. But America and Statesboro, I want to say this to you. We've seen tough days in the past, and we've made it through it. We made it through World War II. We made it through the Great Depression. We made it through the Great Civil War. We made it through the Revolution. We will make it through this. We will make it through this. But what I am not willing to do is to risk the life of one single person in this city. I want to be abundantly clear. I don't want no one to stand at a graveside and think that we did not do enough. And we need to be on the same page because now is not the time for politics. Dr. McCracken, what is your recommendation?
My recommendation is 30 days. I do believe that if the council has disagreement concerning that, and the council is proactive, that you will be convinced within 2 weeks that this is necessary based on the current curve we are seeing. So I think it will be very clear to everyone that this virus is spreading and that it's spreading very quickly. And I don't think there'll be any doubt. And I don't know what to say about the economic consequences. It's absolutely, it's horrible. But my recommendation is 30 days. However, I think if the council is proactive, then you will have the opportunity within 2 weeks to reevaluate and to see that.
Thank you, Dr. McCracken. Statesboro, we're trying to be as transparent as possible with this. We want you to understand that this is a very serious situation. This is an unprecedented moment in our history. And we have to do everything we can to work together to save the lives of the people that we love and our neighbors. At this point, is there any further discussion by council? If there's no further discussion by council, is there a motion to adjourn?
I'm sorry, tell me what the process is gonna be.
At this point now, after this, I will issue an executive order. And I will read the executive order at this time.
Mayor, you have the most recent iteration of it. Let me make sure.
That is.
It is. Okay. Thank you. Okay. Yes, sir. Thank you.
Hold on before you have enough.
I do.
So you're not really asking our approval, you're just gonna go ahead and do it?
Yes.
I don't know, if I know 14 days, they say is it's the period it takes for it to get in your body and get out. If things do get better in 14 days, we'll see that. Dr. McCracken will let us know that, correct?
Yeah, exactly.
And so 30 days is not, it's not stamped in stone.
Yeah, no, it's not. At this point right now,
It's fluid, and we're listening to our medical.
yeah, this executive order will be in effect for the next 15 days. We will bring the council back to consider whether or not we need to extend it.
Okay.
Oh, no, this is not, we're not there yet, no. Okay. And Mr. Penny said something that I think we need to be clear on. This is not a shelter-in-place order. We are hoping that we are not there yet, but this is a order to all of the things that we have identified that we strongly suggested is now becoming mandated. And the executive order reads as follows. During the course of the state emergency for the city of Statesboro declared on March 19th, 2020, pursuant to section 30-4B8, the following deemed necessary to promote and secure the safety and protection of the civilian population shall be applicable. A, public or private gatherings of more than 10 persons are prohibited anywhere in the city of Statesboro for the duration of this executive order. For the purpose of this order, a gathering is any indoor or outdoor event or convening, subject to the exceptions and clarifications below, which brings together or is likely to bring together 10 or more persons at the same time in a single room or other single confined or enclosed spaces, such as an auditorium, stadium, or indoor or outdoor, tent, arena, in event center, music venue, meeting hall, conference center, restaurants, cafeterias, church, or any other confined indoor or confined outdoor space, to include birthday parties, family reunions, baby showers, and weddings. Funeral services shall be held outdoors at grave sites and shall adhere to CDC distancing recommendations as current or amended. For purposes of this executive order, a gathering shall not include the following: office space, government facilities, public or private schools, child care facilities, residential buildings, or any type of temporary shelter or housing, hospitals or medical facilities, grocery stores, shopping centers or malls, other retail establishments, and restaurants operating in compliance with Section B of this order. Section B, restaurants shall only offer curbside, takeout delivery, and drive-through service options. Restaurants remaining open for business shall operate in a manner that allows for a minimum of 6 feet of separation between all customers and employees. Any bar not serving food shall close for business. Restaurants shall be authorized to sell and deliver sealed containers of beer and wine for off-premise consumptions. Hair salons, Section C, hair salons, barbers, nail salons, spas, tattoo parlors, and indoor recreational facilities, including gyms, physical fitness centers, dance studios, shall be closed for the term of this executive order. Any violation of this executive order shall be a misdemeanor. Punishment pursuant to Section 30-11 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Statesboro. Statesboro Police Department shall be authorized to enforce this order. This order shall be effective at 12 a.m. March 23rd, 2020, and remain in force until emergency declaration is no longer in effect or subsequent executive order is issued. Section F, so ordered the 22nd day of March 2020. Statesboro, this breaks my heart to have to do this, but we have to save our lives. We can make more money, we can rebuild businesses, but we cannot replace the lives of the people that we love. This is a serious matter. Albany, a city that I lived for 10 years, has 83 cases, and in the past week, they've lost 6 people, and they have 630 individuals waiting for testing results because they are symptomatic of this disease. That cannot be Statesboro. Any further questions by council?
Mayor, while we've got Dr. McCracken and the other doctors online, can I just confirm a couple of recommendations that we want to help publicize? I understood from them that they are asking that if you know how to sew, get on Facebook and find where you can get the pattern and make extra hospital gowns. That's something productive we can do. The other possibility is a lot of these establishments that are going to have to shut down short term, but have on hand gloves and masks that they use in their normal business, are invited to donate those to the hospital. Dr. McCracken, are both of those things correct?
That is correct. There's already a shortage of masks, not just the N95 mask, but the surgical masks at the hospital. We could use that, so that would be appreciated.
What other recommendations can we help you publicize here?
Well, what you're doing currently is huge. Trying to slow down this spread is actually the biggest thing we can do, so that we have time to continue to prepare. The other is any contacts that you all have in the state and other areas. We do believe that we're going to see this virus in Statesboro, and that we're going to see symptomatic cases, and we're going to see them at our hospital. And anything that you all can do to work with the hospital administration to help them obtain personal protective equipment is certainly appreciated, because our nurses, especially our nurses that are in these rooms consistently, and our physicians are putting themselves at risk, and anything we can do to protect them would be appreciated. So thank you.
Thank you. I will be remiss. Dr. Chappelle is here. Dr. Chappelle, do you think there's anything that we need to touch base on?
Hey. Hi there, I'm Anthony Chappelle. I'm one of your local cardiologists, and I agree with everything that Dr. McCracken has shared with the council here today.
Dr. Chappelle, if you will, come to the mic.
Hi there, how are you doing? I'm glad that the city council here in Statesboro has agreed to meet on this very, very unusual occasion, and I appreciate, and I'm sure Dr. McCracken appreciates the tone that you all have taken, and as much as, yes, Statesboro is a place full of great Bible business, but we don't want to risk anyone's lives here unnecessarily. Yes, we can always recoup our funds, but we can't necessarily bring our loved ones back, and we don't want to spend a lot of time out there at the graveside when we could have been proactive, as you all are currently being here today. So whatever you all can do to help us out with getting personal protective equipment, getting people to do appropriate social distancing, that would be a big start. As we said, as Dr. McCracken shared with you all, the onslaught of this viral infection to our area is coming. It's not a matter of if, it is a matter of when. And the more we can prepare ahead of time, the better off we will be at the end of this.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Any further discussion by council prior to adjournment?
Instead of ending on such a somber note, can we remind one another, as you said, we're in it together.
Yeah.
Reach out to people you know, not physically, but reach out to people you know and make your safe distancing buddies. Have folks you check in with every day. Let's take care of one another. Call them, email them, text them, Snapchat, whatever you use to look out for one another, and have folks that you commit to that you're going to check on one another each day.
Thank you, Sherry. That's a perfect note. Any further discussion by council?
So we're going to revisit this on the 7th?
Whatever 15 days is from now, I'll lean on.
Well, the 7th is our normal meeting date, so that's 16 days from now.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Sounds good to me.
So folks in the community who are affected by this can know that we'll make some future determination on that.
Yeah, we've already stated that.
Well, it doesn't say that in the executive order, so I'm just trying to be clear, Mayor.
Yeah, okay.
Thank you, Phil. And we might point out, it may well be virtual and teleconference.
Yeah.
I mean, we're trying to sit social distance, we're trying to be careful. You see me all covered up in the gloves, and I got a mask in my pocket. Take it seriously. This may well be a teleconference meeting on the 7th, so stay tuned.
I just want to say that this is a difficult decision to make for the city, but we all have to work together on this. I know that there are a lot of individuals that may be affected by it, but I'm for the life of the people. And if there are no lives here, we can't have these businesses. There won't be any businesses. There won't be any restaurants. So we got to think about this. We need to all come together and work together on what's best for the people here in this city. And I think setting this executive order right now at this point is what's best for the individuals here in the city of Statesboro.
Amen.
Ken, if you will, be sure to add the duration of 15 days into this.
It will remain effective until March 7th,
Yeah.
2020, unless amended April 7th, unless amended prior to that.
Yeah, exactly. And council, I know you guys are aware, but just if we have to come back, we will come back. And my prayer is that we can come back under a lighter note. Mr. Penny.
Mayor, members of the council, I just want to take the opportunity to remind everyone, since we do have Facebook Live and some other sources, City Hall will be closed tomorrow to the public. City employees will be here. We went through some carpet cleaning this week. We have a deep cleaning tomorrow, and we will see where we stand as we go forward. City employees will report to work, but the building will not be open to the public. And we'll be cleaning other buildings as well, but not tomorrow, but we will let the public know when that happens.
All right, thank you, Mr. Penny.
Mr. Penny, can I make one comment about the procedures for employees that you sent out?
Okay.
There's about 3 or 4 different documents. One of them said encouraging sick people to stay home, require sick people to stay home. I realize that that's just the standard language, but if you're sick, the biggest way to stop this from spreading, if you are sick, stay home, don't contact other people, and if you contact someone sick, stay home, self-sequester yourself. Sick people staying home is the #1 way this is going to stop spreading.
No question. The city manager checks his temperature every morning. And if it's up, you will not be coming to work. The mayor can call me at home.
Absolutely.
I just noticed that you
Always
said
can call
encouraged,
me
but
on.
it should be required.
We'll be glad to make that amendment. Thank you. We certainly agree with you.
All right, any further discussion by council?
This is a fast-moving
Yes.
situation. It could get worse quickly, but hopefully, it'll start to get better with, implementing these procedures. It'll get better quicker so we can address them sooner.
Absolutely. All right, any further discussion by council? All right, seeing that there's no further discussion by council, is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor? All right, good night, Statesboro, God bless you.
Mr. Mayor, can you make some clarification, because we've got a lot of questions here from business owners on Facebook Live. We don't have a copy of it, so I know you'll be giving us one, but we haven't seen it. But the number one is clarification on businesses. You said restaurants, no more than 10 people inside. What about a retail establishment? I know grocery stores, there's an exception, but there seems to be some confusion about retail establishments.
Well, what we're gonna do is, give this to you because there has been a change for restaurants. And for restaurants, that's addressing section B. Section B reads as follows: restaurants shall only offer curbside, takeout, delivery, and drive-through service options. So your dining area should be completely closed. There should be no one in there at this point in time. Every order that you get should be pick up and delivered, or curbside service.
I think we're clear on that with retail establishments. If I have a business, am I only allowed 10 people in my business? I shut my business down, but you're recommending only 10 people at a time in my business?
Yes, that is what the recommendation is, Yeah, we'll do the large square footage ones. We're recommending the social distance pieces. All of that is covered in the executive order. So if it does not fall within that, grocery stores, things of that nature, it's covered in the executive order. All right, so with that said, we are.
The smaller shops like hair salons, barbers, nail salons, all that, their dance studios, gyms, they're completely closed, no matter how many people they have in them.
Yes, they are. Okay.
Mr. Mayor, can I make an announcement, please?
Go ahead.
My name is John Long, I'm Director of Christian Social Ministry here at Statesboro.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna, we'll be distributing food tomorrow as we normally do, but I'd like to get the word out as well as I could that it will be drive-up only.
Mm-hmm.
We'll have volunteers there that will be.
Come to the mic.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
It will be drive-up only. We will have volunteers that will be stationed inside in the locked building. We'll be communicating by two-way radios. We'll have volunteers that will be carrying our bags of food to the cars as they come up. We have signs made that will be posted at both entrances stating that they must stay in their car. And everyone will be masked, they will be gloved. We do it taking every precaution we can to ensure as much safety as possible. But we will continue to, it's just not everyone's gonna come. We're gonna stay with our policies. We're not gonna allow people to take advantage of this, to have the opportunity to stock up like a lot of them are. If we allow people to come twice a month, then we're gonna adhere to that. And so we're not gonna just be rushing through it, but we're gonna stick with our policies as they stand at this time until we need to do something more drastic in the future. Hopefully it doesn't come to that.
Absolutely.
But we just want everyone to know that we're gonna be available tomorrow.
All right, and so I thank you very much. I want to go back to Dwayne's question as a point of clarity. And so if you look at the last sentence in section 8, and it says, for purposes of this executive order, a gathering shall not include the following: office space, government buildings, public or private schools, child care facilities, residential buildings, or any type of temporary gathering or housing, hospitals and medical facilities, grocery stores, shopping centers or malls, other retail establishments, and restaurants operated in compliance with section B of this order. So that's the point of clarity on that. Okay.
Excuse me.
We can't answer all of those right now.
Mayor, I think one thing there, when you, there is still like a 6-foot spacing recommended there for restaurants. That's like people who would be picking up at a counter.
Yes, that goes for that as well. Even when they come pick up, there should be a 6-foot distance between them as well.
I have a question for clarity. So with Dwayne asked about the retail spaces, so you are allowing the retail spaces to be open, but they cannot have 10 or more people?
No, this is the large grocery stores, things of that nature. So it follows right here in, section 8. So where it says grocery stores, shopping centers, or malls, or other retail establishments, and restaurants, operating in compliance with section B. So we're going with the CDC recommendation of 6 feet apart in regards to that.
So if they have a retail establishment, let's say if they have a boutique,
Mhm.
they're allowed to stay open, but they cannot have 10 or more people.
Yeah.
Actually, the way it's, point of clarity, that are completely exempted from the 10 person.
So
As it is presented, there is an exception to the 10 person maximum for retail facilities, for grocery stores, for restaurants that are complying with section B, for office spaces, government facilities, hospitals, all that are exempted from the 10 person maximum.
So restaurants can still serve inside, you just have to have 6 foot.
No, Councilman Riggs, restaurants are only allowed to do those certain non-dine-in options.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
The restaurants are the ones that is what's going to be shut down on the inside. Everything else has to be in compliance. That's what this is saying.
My understanding is that we're not mandating any restrictions on grocery stores, shopping centers, malls, or
Yeah.
other retail establishments. We're not mandating them. We're still just encouraging them.
Yeah, should continue to use social distancing there. Okay. All right, any further questions?
Have you spoken with the county? There's a lot of questions is because there were 2 weddings in the county and 3 funerals in the county yesterday. A lot of issues, and they're all working together. Have you had a conversation with the county about following?
Yes, the county was on the call yesterday that we had with our medical doctors. They were aware that we were having a meeting today. We're working collaboratively with the county on many issues. When they're going to meet in regards to what their next steps are going to be, I'm not exactly sure. But for the safety of the people of Statesboro, we have to move forward with the precautions that we think are necessary.
So just as clarification, you're acting only on the city. This is not in the county.
Only the city. Yeah, this is only the city. This has no bearing beyond the limits of the city of Statesboro.
But we are working closely with the county and
Yes.
they're close in touch.
Yeah, we were all on the call yesterday. Yeah.
So there's no indication they're taking these measures at this time?
Well, they've already done a soft shutdown in their offices. You've seen the orders that they put out.
This is not the same as their offices. Totally.
What the county does is what the county does. We can only control what we do.
I understand that, I was just asking a question.
Yeah. Okay. All right. That was the longest adjournment that we've ever had.
Well, maybe we should still remind folks to look at bulletinboad.org to get local information about who's open, who's closed, who's restricted. The form you can fill out if you need help at home and need to volunteer to get your groceries or your drugs. Bulletinboad.org. Dwayne or Bryce Connect on Facebook is trying to coordinate a lot of those local efforts. Of course, I think most folks know cdc.gov. And then the 800 number is there. We're both authoritative information sources.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Statesboro. Y'all take care. Have a great evening. God bless.
I'll put you another copy of the